Hello and welcome back to Matt Facts. Today we're going to talk about some interesting invasive species. Just for background knowledge, an invasive species is a living thing that's been taken from its natural habitat and then put into a new habitat, and once it's in that new area, it causes negative environmental effects. So with that, I'm going to tell you about some of the most interesting invasive species I've learned about. So first we're going to talk about the European starling. So they look pretty cute and kind of innocent. They have these pretty translucent green and purple feathers, light little polka dots. But actually they're in the International Conservation Union's top 100 most invasive species. So what's the big deal? What do these little birds do that's so bad? First, they cause millions in agriculture damage each year. So they usually hang out in flocks of several thousands. They'll land in a field, they'll eat pretty much anything, so they destroy crops, grapes, apples, wheat, whatever they can get their beaks on. They also will go and start eating in the livestock's food and pooping in the livestock's food and water, contaminating it and helping to spread disease. So not only human damage, but they cause a lot of environmental damage as well. Since they have such large numbers, they eat a lot of natural animals, so they'll destroy insect populations, which in some cases they'll eat our pests, which is good, but they'll also eat very helpful bugs like bees and other beetles that are important for the environment. Besides that, they're cavity nesters, so they like to nest in holes in trees, and they're pretty aggressive, so they'll take the nests from more native species like woodpeckers that should be there, and then those animals start going on the decline. Originally, the European starling, from the name you could probably tell, it's naturally from Europe and parts of Asia, all the way to Mongolia. And the reason why it was brought to the United States is kind of one of my favorite facts about it. It was brought to New York Central Park in 1890, so 1890, by the American Acclimation Society, because their goal was to introduce every single bird that was mentioned in a Shakespeare play in the United States. And so they started with just 60 birds, let them go in the park, and they're like, there we go, no big deal. Now we fast forward 130 years later, there are over 150 million European starlings in the US. And so that's another reason why they cause so much damage, is their numbers. And because of such high numbers and their damage that they cause, they're one of the few birds not protected by the Migratory Bird Act. So most bird species in America, you can't really hunt or harm. Some things like ducks you can get special license for, but the European starling is one of the few birds that you could destroy their nests, break their eggs, kill the birds. You don't need any permits, there's no special time of year to do it, you just kind of do it whenever. Another animal that can be found on the top 100 worst invasive species is the red-eared slider. They may look very familiar to you. You might have even had one as a pet when you were younger. Originally, the red-eared sliders are from the southern United States and parts of Mexico. What makes them such a bad invasive species is kind of like the European starling and a lot of invasives. They're a generalist. So they're very well suited to adapt to a new environment. When they're somewhere, they eat everything. And because of everything they eat, they cause kind of damage to that food chain. For one thing, they'll eat lots of fish and stuff that will eat mosquitoes. So if they're in an area, mosquito populations go up. They also interbreed with more native turtle species, so causing weird hybrids to form. Or if they don't interbreed, they help carry diseases to the native species or just outcompete them and take up food and other resources that those native turtles would need. So like the starling, the most interesting thing to me is why these animals are so invasive. So they're a very popular pet species, traded globally. They're actually the most traded reptile in the world. And one major reason for them being so popular is this is the species of turtle that the Ninja Turtles were based off of. So once the Ninja Turtles became popular, everyone wanted these pet turtles, and that kind of caused them to be spread everywhere. Extra fun fact about the Ninja Turtles, the accident that caused them to turn into mutants, that accident that caused the goo to spill on them, is the same accident that gave Daredevil his powers. But anyways, the red-eared sliders, they're very hard pets to take care of. So what happens is some people will buy these turtles, and usually when they buy them, they're like this size, and then they start getting bigger, they're harder to take care of, and then people just think, oh, it's a turtle, I'll release it in the wild. And that has caused them to spread everywhere. Like a full-grown red-eared slider can be like this big. And they can live up to 30 to 40 years. So it's really a commitment to take care of these pets. So when you're thinking about getting a turtle, definitely think if it's the right choice for you, and make sure you can take care of it its whole life. And if you do have to get rid of it, make sure you take it to an animal rescue and not just some random pond somewhere, because that's how we got them as invasives. So I'm Matt, those are some invasive species facts, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.